But now you got Josh Allen, and like you said, Coleman is not that guy, and he's raw. He's a raw talent guy, and I think having Amari Cooper, who's a stellar route runner in good hands, very consistent guy. He's got like 9,700 yards and like 60-something touchdowns or something. And he's always been a go-to guy no matter what team he's on. He is an absolute stellar athlete. You put him on the Bills, you now have a deep threat with Shakir. You have a raw, talented guy who can just get open with Coleman and then learn from Amari Cooper, being that veteran on the field. And I think the Bills, if they can hold on to Amari, then they can move forward and be a bigger threat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk, where we review the stat sheets and we know the refs cheat. My name is David. I got Scooter with me, and we're just going to be rocking the dynamic duo. Carlos is not going to be with us tonight. Almost all of Central Florida is still recovering from Hurricane Milton, but Scooter, we got a lot to cover into, man. There's been some breaking news that happened today, so I'm excited to dive into it. But before we get into all of that, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, that is the best way to continue to support us as we grow this NFL season. Scooter, it's happening. The reunion of Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. We kind of saw it, this has been teased since pretty much Aaron Rodgers got on the Jets, it seems like, last year. And it probably would have happened if he didn't get injured last year. But Davante Adams is officially a member of the New York Jets. The Jets send a third-round pick that is, a conditional pick, and it could be a second-round pick if he's like first or second team All-Pro, and he's on the active roster for the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl, which is a bold statement because they're 2-4 right now. So, but what does this mean for the Jets? Does Davante Adams get the Jets to where they need to go, or is this just making Aaron Rodgers happy and giving the Jets fan base a false hope?
I mean, you got rid of your head coach.
Fair enough.
I agree with Bill Belichick. I don't think that was a very good move. Davante to the Jets absolutely helps the Jets, and I think Davante was like, "You guys can get rid of me, or I'm not playing because these bum ass quarterbacks suck over here. I'm gonna go play with Aaron." That's pretty much probably how that conversation went, because he was dying in Oakland. Man, there was no one to throw to him after Derek Carr left, and it sucks for the Raiders because honestly, they're very good on defense. They have the weapons. They just need a guy behind center that's consistent, man. You don't need an A-plus guy. You just need a guy that maintains the game and creates plays and does not turn the ball over. Granted, when you have a guy that's not motivated, and you can kind of see how Davante played when he kind of gave up on some plays, and that wasn't the right thing to do, and they started winning games last year and started making a comeback. And, seeing him go to the Jets as a Bills fan, God, that sucks. Their chances of creating a threat to the AFC is now more of a problem. You still got the Chiefs, you still got the Ravens, you got the Steelers, who are somehow in this power conversation. You got the Bills. Tua's coming back for the Dolphins. I think this is an incredibly good move by the Jets. How much longer, though, does Davante have? He came in the same time as Mike Evans did. They're both equally very stellar athletes. But does Aaron Rodgers stay as long as Davante stays? Because that O-line still has some questions, too.
I think that if one of them leaves, the other one goes with them. I think that that's just going to be what happens because both of these guys, they've played without each other and they know how badly it sucks without the other person around. And this is the thing with Aaron Rodgers that I've been seeing. I was actually talking to a good buddy of mine who's a Green Bay fan, and I asked him, I said, "What is it with Rodgers? Like, are you happy to see this? Because, obviously he left the Green Bay Packers. There was that whole debacle with him leaving the Green Bay Packers, and he went to the New York Jets, and he had the injury last year. Now he just doesn't seem to be in the groove." And he said something to me that it makes a lot of sense. Aaron Rodgers is actually he's a hell of a quarterback, right? I mean, there's no doubting that. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. But when he's not comfortable with the receivers and he doesn't trust the receivers, there is offensive struggles, and that is clear. And that is exactly what is happening with the New York Jets right now. Now, granted, last night they had new play calling last night. So that they did switch it up after the exit of Robert Saleh, which could you imagine being Robert Saleh? I mean, you get fired, and then the very next week, your former team brings in this this All Pro, probably Hall of Fame wide receiver with Devontae Adams, and you're like,
burn the building down.
Yeah, seriously, like, why couldn't I get that? At least give me a shot. You know what I mean? So, but now he has Devontae Adams, he has Garrett Wilson, he has Alan Lazard, who he does trust and he does like a lot. I think that his production might go down a little bit, just simply because obviously Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Devontae's going to eat up a lot of targets because Aaron Rodgers is going to target him a lot. He's still trying to get on the same page with Garrett Wilson, and that's very clear. Mike Williams, though, probably out. Aaron Rodgers expressed some frustration with Mike Williams, after Monday night's loss against the Buffalo Bills, which, honestly, man, if you look at this Jets team, they're just a good kicker away from actually being 4-2 instead of 2-4. So, just kind of sucks that the dice have landed where they are. But they also had a ton of penalties, which, we can talk a little bit about that because that was insane. The amount of penalties in that game. I feel like every play had a penalty, or like at least like one or two.
204. 204 flags or something crazy like that. It was insane.
No, it was 204 scrimmage yards.
Oh, scrimmage yards.
Penalties. But here's the thing. I've never seen so many offsetting penalties in one game. It seemed like anytime one team got a penalty, the other team got a penalty, and so they were like, this is offset, we're just going to replay that down. It's like, holy crap, can we just move on? But anyway, Devontae Adams to the Jets should be exciting. Hopefully it turns around things there for you Jets fans. I don't see why it shouldn't. It doesn't hurt. So, props to you. Then right after the Devontae Adams trade, we got this. Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. That's insane. Granted, I think that they need it because after watching Buffalo play the New York Jets on Monday night, the number one thing that I was saying in my head was, gosh dang, he needs a black weapon. Because Coleman ain't doing it. Coleman is not producing the way that we thought that he was going to produce. Shakir, he's kind of, up and down with his production, game in and game out. So they don't have a number one guy. They don't have a true number one guy. They need that. After Stephon Diggs left, they need that number one guy. Well, they got him. Amari Cooper. I think that this is awesome. If you're an Amari Cooper owner for fantasy football, your year just got a hell of a lot better. But they send a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick for Amari Cooper, and they get a 6th round pick. So, fair enough. You know what I mean? So, but did not see this coming. Didn't even know that Amari Cooper was really in on the trade block. But Buffalo Bills just got a whole lot better. And Josh Allen has his new favorite target. How do you like this? Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills.
Dude, I love it. And quite honestly, the Browns are hemorrhaging what they can because Deshaun Watson is just a big hanging 200 mil right there. And quite honestly, the Browns are ass, so I don't blame Amari Cooper for agreeing with the trade itself. He's got a better quarterback to throw to him. I don't think he's had a quarterback to throw to him I couldn't remember who played in Dallas when he was there. I know he had Derek Carr when he first came into the league with the Raiders. But now you got Josh Allen, and like you said, Coleman is not that guy, and he's raw. He's a raw talent guy, and I think having Amari Cooper, who's a stellar route runner in good hands, very consistent guy. He's got like 9,700 yards and like 60 something touchdowns or something, and he's always been a go-to guy no matter what team he's on. He is an absolute stellar athlete. You put him on the Bills, you now have a deep threat with Shakir. You have a raw, talented guy who can just get open with Coleman and then learn from Amari Cooper, being that veteran on the field. And I think the Bills, if they can hold on to Amari, then they can move forward and be a bigger threat. You just listed off a whole bunch of stuff for the trade. I think the Bills are willing to allow that to happen because they're taking the risk, right? They're like, hey, we've seen this guy play on the field before. We know what he can do. We'll give up some draft picks. And Josh Allen needs someone to throw to that has some size. Amari Cooper has size outside of Coleman. Route tree wise, is he better than Stephon Diggs? Debatable. I would say they're somewhat identical. I think, Stephon Diggs got more shiftiness to him and more agility, whereas Amari Cooper's footwork wise, it's fantastic. Hands probably a little bit better. And he's not as big of a diva as Diggs. So that's where you win there too. The Bills need to find their identity because barely beating the Jets was not the way to win in Monday Night Football. And they have a tough road ahead of them too as we get into this season. I really like the two pickups this week, back to back with Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper. Script writers for the NFL, good job. Because we could potentially see a Jets and Bills in the playoffs in this scenario. Potentially, because we all know that chaos happens.
Chaos does happen, and another trade that I think it's kind of being slept on a little bit. But Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones gets, I believe, put on IR with that hip injury. So I don't know if Aaron Jones is going to be back this year, and if he does, it's going to be later. So I think Cam Akers is going to take over as far as the premier back there. And
I thought he was still questionable. Is he on IR?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, they came out and they said that they're, going to be moving him to IR. At least I'm pretty sure I saw that correctly. Maybe I'm not. Fact check me. But Cam Akers to Minnesota. I mean, he wasn't really doing anything in Houston. Actually, he hasn't really done anything since he's gotten in the league. So maybe he can revitalize his career in Minnesota. I mean, hey, Sam Darnold's doing it, so why not him? Speaking of quarterbacks that is revitalizing their career, Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. Dude, he's 4-2. He's thrown 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's taking care of the ball. He looks good. He looks comfortable. How do they move on from Justin Fields? Because they brought in Russell Wilson, which obviously, had the injury. But what do you do in this situation? Because honestly, I don't think you bench Justin until he doesn't start, producing as he is. Why would you want to switch? You're in a good spot, especially in the AFC North, which is completely upside down. I mean, the Bengals, who the hell knows what's happening with them? They barely snuck out a win against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. They just don't look good. Ravens are still so solid. Browns, dumpster fire. But they're competing with the Ravens for top spot in the AFC North. Justin Fields has been their quarterback since the start of it all. I understand that you have Russell Wilson there and, all the hype that came with him. You get him very cheaply this year. Next year, you're going to have to pay him. So what do you do? Do you just say, hey, Russell, sorry, but we got our guy? Because I don't think that Mike Tomlin is a coach that is going to be switching quarterbacks a lot. That's not what he does. That's not what Pittsburgh does. What do you do in this situation? I say keep Justin.
I mean, the AFC North has returned to its normalcy with the Ravens and the Steelers fighting it out instead of whatever we had last year. Yeah, Browns are a dumpster fire. That organization is just upside down. I'd like to see the Bengals come back because, again, talented roster, good coach. Fields and Tomlin are on the same page. I think the word they need to run with here is consistency. You have a good, decent shot at winning your division right now in how everyone's playing. Fields is not going out and putting up crazy yards and crazy touchdowns. He's also not turning the ball over, though. So everyone says they hate on a game manager. I don't see the problem with that. You have games that are being won. You're managing the game itself and controlling how much you possess the ball. And Tomlin is a winner. At the end of the day, he's a winner. It may not look the greatest at the end of the season, being 500 or above 500, but he's never had a losing season. He knows what he's doing. That defense is still pretty good. Put in Russell Wilson, we don't know because he hasn't played. He's been injured. Do you want a similar thing with the Broncos to the Steelers? I don't know how that plays out. Like, it's a different culture too. Like, the culture that the Bears had with Justin Fields didn't allow him to thrive, and it was like, okay, you're just going to run the ball. With Russell Wilson and the Broncos, you had Sean Payton just blowing up everything that Russell Wilson ever wanted to do, and there was no like locker room culture to get around there. And now with the Steelers, you have a weird scenario that I think you don't switch. I think you stay with Fields, like what you're saying, because he's at least getting you wins. You can't argue with that. Like, sorry, Russ, sit the bench, bro. Here's $9 million. Go play golf. Yeah, they're gonna have to shovel out some money after this year and figure out who they want. And quite honestly, you can still find a quarterback in the draft, or you trade for one for less to get a solid backup. Russell Wilson as a backup, that's just gold at this point. Unless he starts complaining and causing issues.
And the other thing about it is that if you're gonna, so let's say they do the Russell Wilson experiment, he goes in and he sucks. Then okay, then you have to go back to Justin Fields. But then what does that do to a locker room? What does that do to a locker room? What does that do to the culture that you've already tried to build and instill? You're just showing like, hey man, we were winning with Justin. You bring in Russell, which I get it. He was supposed to be your starter, but he sucks. Why didn't we just continue to roll with Justin? You know, so it's a very weird situation. I don't know how they're going to handle it. But if I'm the Steelers, I'm rocking with Justin Fields, and I'm just, you know, going to continue to do that and say exactly what you said. Sorry, Russell, but I mean, if you didn't get injured, you would have had your shot. Sorry about your luck. Sit on the bench, make the money, and you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe you can hit free agency and go somewhere else next year. I don't know how that's going to play out. So,
I mean, hell, the Broncos are still shuffling like 100
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're getting him for cheap, so it's not like it's hurting you in any way, right? So, I mean, you're just going to have to do what you have to do, but I would stick with Justin for the remainder of the year. Speaking of quarterbacks, though, can I just say how impressed I am with these rookie quarterbacks this year? Caleb Williams has, as much as we want to hate on him, the guy is really starting to come along and get into his groove. The Bears are starting to click. That offense is starting to click. He's starting to look a lot more comfortable there in the pocket. I mean, Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's just an absolute dog. I mean, this guy is just amazing. I love everything about Jaden Daniels. And then you have Bo Nix. I love his maturity. I saw a press conference the other day, and they were like, hey, can you walk us through that interception? He's like, yep, step back, threw it to the other team. It's like, all right, fair enough. I mean, that's so true. You know,
it's almost like a trolling thing, too. He's like, yeah,
it is.
I just threw it to the wrong guy.
Yeah, it was just like, I just threw it to the wrong guy. They asked him about that whole back and forth thing with Sean Payton, and he was just like, oh, yeah, I just said I love you, and he said I love you too back. And, you know, it was just, you know, so it's like, if you're
in the media, you're like, this guy's good.
Yeah, it's like he knows how to answer questions. We've seen really good things out of Bo Nix. The Broncos are a team that you cannot, just sleep on. Tampa learned that a couple weeks ago. I mean, they came into Tampa and completely blew them out. And then you got Drake May, who had his first start against the Houston Texans this last week, and he not
3
bad.
touchdowns.
Not bad. A couple interceptions, but you almost expect that, especially against a defense like the Texans, who are well coached. They have a lot of talent on that team. I'm liking this. I'm loving this rookie quarterback class right now, and I hope for many more to come. The only quarterback that we haven't seen anything from is Michael Penix, but I'm sure that we'll get to see him enough. And as a Tampa
Or
fan, I'm okay with waiting. Huh?
Or McCarthy.
Yeah.
That's because he's injured. But yeah, Penix won't see the field until Kirk Cousins takes an injury or they trade him. I like Jaden Daniels out of this bunch right now. I know Bo Nix is pretty decent, and that's got, I think, some learning pains with Sean Payton. But you got Jaden Daniels, who's taken the Commanders into leading the NFC East, which is just insane right now. And I know you're saying, yeah, we hated on Caleb and everything else. I'm still going to ride that train. There's some things that I think need to be answered, right? Your bonehead throws or, just misreads are going to come, right? You got learning pains being a rookie in the NFL. And I think he needs to humble himself just a little bit more and show some mental maturity because Jaden Daniels came right out of the box and was like, you want some touchdowns? I got you some touchdowns. Doesn't matter if I'm running them or throwing them. Now, if you're a Commanders fan, I need you to rewind the clock a few years when you were still Redskins and you had RG3 with Jay Gruden. Please do not mess this up. I'm going to say it again. You don't have Dan Snyder as your owner. Don't mess this up. He is excellent, and you're winning games. Don't mess this up. Because right now you're owning your division. You're about to hit the second half of your season where things get really wild really fast. Take it because the Cowboys are looking like chump change. The Eagles finally got their players back. Danny Dimes is somehow still playing football. The Giants can't find their way to win games consistently. So take it and just don't get Jaden Daniels injured.
Yeah, don't mess this up, Commanders. But you know what? I think that, now that Snyder's out of there, I think that entire building is turned around. Jane Daniels is the future. And hey, hats off to the Commanders for what they were able to do. They brought in a lot of talent this offseason. They decided to build around Jane Daniels, and man, it's paying off very well for them. So, and honestly, the NFC East is up for grabs. Dallas Cowboys suck. Philadelphia suspect. Giants, I mean, come on, really laughable at this point. So, I mean, take it, Commanders. Go for it. Bring back your old name too while you're at it. Just make everything right and just, move forward. So, well, let's get into a couple of games really quick before we get into our game day picks of the week. So that's going to be fun. I got Carlos's picks. So only just because he's not here doesn't mean. And me and Carlos,
just make sure you give him all the bad games.
Right. Everything that he picked, I'm actually going to go opposite and just screw you, man. Screw
you. He goes like 15-0 or whatever. We're like,
right.
God.
I picked everything opposite, and he ends up, killing it. So let's get into a couple of these games because man, there's some good games this week. First off, NFC North matchup. Lions, Vikings. I think this is the game of the week. This is going to be an awesome game to watch. Dallas. Detroit is coming off a huge win in Dallas on Jerry Jones's birthday. Freaking had linemen going out for touchdowns. I mean, they were just playing with their freaking, prey at that point. I mean, Dallas was just, it was over. But Detroit's looking good. Obviously, Sam Darnold, Minnesota Vikings are looking good. They're coming off of a bye week after they get the big win over in London a couple weeks ago against the Jets. So who do you have? Or not who do you have? We'll get into the picks. But what are you liking this week for this NFC North matchup? NFC North is hot right now.
Oh, for sure, man. The NFC North's looking real good. You got somehow Sam Darnold playing like he's Tom Brady. You got the Lions who can put out their practice squad and still smack the Cowboys around. That was a complete embarrassment holistically. This game looks to me like who can play the better lockdown defense, right? We thought the Vikings had a suspect secondary or just in general with their defense. We were totally wrong. The Lions have a great defense. I believe Aiden Hutchinson did go down with an injury. I haven't
He's
followed up on that.
he's out. He's
Oh,
done, man. It's a tibia fibia break. Like he's
he's done for
done.
the season.
Yeah.
But does that change? Does that change how they play defense? Because they still have pressure. I think even with that, like even when he's getting double teamed, there is still pressure. But there's that presence is missed, and we've seen this before. When you take Aaron Donald out Aaron Donald out of the situation, you take, when Hubbard was injured for Cincinnati, and it was just Hendrickson. They do key on that kind of stuff for the pressure. And the same thing is, I know Aaron Jones is injured too for the Vikings. So is this a, 1-for-1 type deal? Is Cam Akers their answer? He's inconsistent. And that's the thing. That's why I think it boils down to who can have that lockdown defense for the passing game. Jared Goff's very pass happy. And same thing with the Vikings, especially with coming in with a semi-questionable running back, because Aaron Jones is injured.
Here is something that I want to run by you. Aiden Hutchinson, huge blow, man. Thoughts and prayers go out to him. That was ugly, man. Dude, that sucked to see. I love that kid so much, man. He's such talent. And I mean, the fact that I'm saying that as a Tampa fan, and he sacked Baker 5 times in one game, okay? I was tired of seeing him that game. But at the end of the day, this kid is awesome. He is the embodiment of what Dan Campbell and Detroit is. I love everything about him. But there's a guy out there who has been rumored to be traded before the NFL deadline, and that is Hassan Riddick. Do you think that the Detroit Lions could go out and get Riddick to help bring in some more pass rush to that defense in replace of Aiden Hutchinson? Now, I'll take Aiden Hutchinson over Riddick 10 times out of 10. But it wouldn't be a bad presence to have, especially with the absence of Hutchinson.
That'd be wild. That'd be absolutely wild.
Something
and
to
I
watch
think it would
out
only be a
for.
one year deal, or
Yeah.
for at least for the remainder of the season. And Reddick, I don't think has played at all for the
No.
Jets. And does he come back to the Jets now that he has Rodgers and Devontae Adams, or is this just a front office managerial thing where he's like, you know what, this is not what I wanted, and I'm gonna take it and go somewhere else? If he goes to the Lions, God help the rest of the NFC, because they're gonna play the Eagles at some point.
Yeah.
They're gonna play in their division, and in a division that is beasting everybody right now. I would argue the Lions may be turning into the favorite because you got the 49ers who are still winning games but not winning, with half their injuries being main guys on their roster. So Reddick to the Lions, dude, that's a diabolical pickup. I don't think it's a trade. I think it'd be if it is a trade, they're trying to get whatever they can, but not sacrifice the meat of their roster. But
Yeah.
that'd be
Well, it
absolutely
would
diabolical.
have to be a trade. So, because the Jets aren't going to release Hassan Riddick. So, and I think I saw something today or sometime that the Jets they gave permission to Riddick to start looking for some trade candidates. So we'll see what happens. But Detroit might be a good fit. But it's going to be a fun matchup, man. This NFC North matchup is going to be fun. It's the battle of the North. I mean, if the Detroit Lions win, I think that they get bumped up to first place. And then, obviously the Vikings take their first loss of the year. So should be a really good matchup to watch. The second game, I know that we had a couple of other games circled here, but for just time's sake, I just want to talk about one more game. We get into the game day picks of the week, and that's going to be Chiefs 49ers. So the Chiefs are obviously undefeated. 49ers, they've been kind of up and down. They've been riddled with injuries. It sucks. They lost Christian McCaffrey. They lost Debo. Brandon Ayuk has, been MIA since he, got paid, which is crazy. What's up with all these guys, bitching and complaining about wanting to get paid this offseason? and then they don't show up on the field on Sundays. What's going on with that? Dak Prescott gets paid $60 million a year. Sucks. CeeDee Lamb been MIA. Dak can't find him anywhere. Now, granted, both of those guys weren't having the drama, but we have Jamar Chase. What has he been doing? We have Brandon Ayuk, all the drama that was around Brandon Ayuk this offseason. What the hell have you been doing this entire time? I don't know. But Chiefs 49ers, can the 49ers, I mean it's in San Francisco, so maybe Super Bowl rematch though. Super Bowl rematch should be a fun game to watch. These two teams, I mean, despite what the record says for the 49ers, they're still a very talented team.
Absolutely. And the bigger question for this game is, do the refs have money on it? Because, and I talked with one of the guys in my unit, and he's a Chiefs fan. He was like, blah, 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 blah. No, I got it. There's all the stuff going on. And I only joke about that because, there's everything you see on the internet. But the bigger question, I think, is really the injuries and how they impact the 49ers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs have Rice out. They have Pacheco out. They have Hollywood Brown out. Like, those are three key guys for that offense, and they're still winning games. But how long is that going to sustain itself? On the 49ers side, you got CMC out. You got Mustafa out. You got Mason, their running back. It was just the backup who was beasting. He came out. You got Kadarius Ward out. You got the kicker, Moody. Like, can you sustain again? Can you win with key people out, right? How deep is your running back room? How deep is your wide receiver room? We all know secondaries. As Bucs fans, we all know once your prime guy, Winfield, goes out, your defense changes significantly. When your other safety goes out, it changes. When Kirk Cousins throws 500 yards on you. So,
yeah.
My thing is injuries and how they impact the game. And then, for the love of me, the 49ers cannot give any second chances to Mahomes and Andy Reid. You just can't. Regardless, if Mahomes has the grocery bag guy from down the street, he's still going to score a touchdown, man. The guy's ridiculous. He could throw behind his back, under his legs, blindfolded, spinning 360, parallel to the ground for a touchdown. Like, he's just that good. And I think the Chiefs are turning into the new Patriots for everybody. And it's so hard to like find a way that they're going to falter with how good Andy Reid is as a coach. I think it's don't give second chances and limiting turnovers with this whole injury fiasco with this game.
Yeah, definitely you can't give second chances to Mahomes at all. I mean, dude, Josh Allen gave Mahomes, 10 seconds, and Mahomes still took advantage of it. So, and I think Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers know that. Brock Purdy is a guy who manages the game very well, doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. So I think that they can pull off this win. Maybe. I mean, who knows? God, I hope so. But you're right. I mean, the Chiefs are the new Patriots. And, when you have Patrick Mahomes, it's a game changer. Doesn't matter who he has to throw it to. And, because the guy can throw the ball really well. Really well. So, it's that time. I know for time's sake, I want to make these a little bit shorter, but for time's sake, we got a couple of games. Texans, Packers, hell of a game to watch. We'll get into that. Also, Monday night matchup, Ravens, Bucks. Electric offenses going up against each other. So those are the other two games to definitely keep an eye on this week. But it is that time, Scooter, for the Beardzone Game Day picks of the week. That is right. It is the rapid fire Game Day picks of the week segment where we go down the list of games this week and we decide who will become victorious at the end of the day. And our records are down below us. We're going to shout out Carlos right up here. That is his record so far. So, and then our records are below me and Scooter. So, Scooter, redemption last week. Congrats to you after a really struggling week in week 6. Or I'm sorry, in week 5. But week 7, let's go down the games. Broncos, Saints, Thursday night to kick it off. Who do you got?
Another Saints loss, please, for the love of God. Let's give me some more I love yous from Bo Nix. Let's take the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I like the Broncos in this one as well. Um, I mean, just dude, look what the Bucks were able to do. Put a 50 burger on them. I love it so much. Carlos has the Broncos as well, so we are unanimous on that. Patriots, Jaguars. Who cares? But it's a game. Who do we have?
This is my dumpster fire number 1 game of this week, and I got the Pats because the Jags just can't find their head out of their own rear end, man.
Yeah,
They can't.
Carlos has the Jaguars. So, I mean, who knows what he was thinking there, but I'm going to go with the Pats as well. I just don't like the Jaguars at all, and this is Drake May. I think Drake May can have a really good game this week. So, keep an eye
It's because
on
the
that.
Jags don't even play ball. It's just
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Lions Vikings game of the week, man. It's got to be the game of the week. Battle of the North. Who do you have?
I'm going to be in the doghouse because my wife has the Vikings, but I'm picking the Lions, man.
Dude, you had the Lions?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go.
All right. Looks like we're unanimous across the board here as well. Carlos and myself have the Lions. I think that Sam Darnold and the Vikings, they've got to come down to reality eventually. I think this is the game, not to say that they're a good team. They're still going to be contending for the North, but I think the Lions take the victory this week. Titans, Bills. I mean, is this even a matchup? Or are the Bills on bye week? What the hell is going on?
There might as well be a bye week for the Bills. I got a Bills Mafia, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a Bills pick for me and Carlos as well. Next up, Dolphins Colts. Interesting matchup. Joe Flacco cooking. I mean, he's really looking good. I don't know what the whole situation with Tua is. I haven't been keeping up with that, to be honest with you. But I mean, Dolphins are kind of suspect without Tua. So who do you have? Dolphins Colts.
I'm pretty sure Tua comes back for this game, and for all the giggles and everything, I think he should run a QB draw first play just to prove he's good to go. I got the Dolphins.
You have the Dolphins. Okay. So
Yeah.
Carlos is going to roll with the Colts. Surprising. He's going against his team. Yeah, I know. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go against his team too, because if Joe Flacco is the quarterback for your team and he is just the backup, he's going to win you games. We saw that with the Browns last year. We're seeing that with the Colts this year. So give me the Colts. And also Carlos likes the Colts as well. Wow, man. I'm surprised that he picked against the Dolphins. Huh.
Crazy.
Interesting. All right, next game, Seahawks Falcons. This is a good game. Should be a good game. Who do you have?
Dude, the way Kirk Cousins completely embarrassed us, I gotta go with the Falcons. The Seahawks kind of were somewhat exposed last week, but I got the Falcons.
Yeah, Carlos is going to roll with the Falcons on this one. I'm going with the Seahawks. I like the Seahawks in this game. I like their running attack with Kenneth Walker. I think that he can. I mean, we saw Bucky Irving start to slice up that defense, and Chuba Hubbard, man, he even had a decent game last week against the Falcons as well. So I think that they are going to be able to control the clock and ultimately get the win there in Atlanta. So give me the Seahawks over the Falcons this week. Texans, Packers, great matchup, really good matchup. Jordan Love starting to get his groove back. Texans or the Texans, of course. Who do you have?
Dude, this one was actually kind of a hard pick, given how the teams are playing. The Texans have won 3 straight. Packers are getting their groove, and both have actually lost to the Vikings. But I'll take the Texans.
Yeah, so Carlos is going to go with the Packers this game. So he's going with Jordan Love and the Packers. I'm going to go with you though, Scooter. I'm taking the Texans. As much as I like what Jordan Love and the Packers are doing, there's just been a lot of inconsistency with them, and Texans are not a team to be inconsistent with. And so I think that that's going to bite them this week. So give me the Texans. Bengals, Browns, battle of the two crappy teams in the North, surprisingly. So, but who do you have?
This is my dumpster fire number 2 game of this week. Just based on how they have been playing, and the bigger dumpster fire, the Browns are definitely not getting a win against the Bengals. I think the Bengals finally found their offense. They just can't seem to win tough games.
Yeah, well, this should not be a tough game for them, I think. And we all three select the Bengals. Carlos has them. I have them as well. So, yeah, I'm not going to ever. I don't think I'll probably pick the Browns. Unless if they play the Giants. Maybe I'll give them a
Or the
bone
Cowboys.
There. Or the Cowboys, honestly. Yeah, fair enough. So, well, they already played the Cowboys at the beginning of the year. So that's
they
out
won.
of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they lost.
Oh, they lost?
Yeah, dude. Dallas
whatever.
beat the crap out of them. You don't remember that? The Dallas was like all the Dallas Cowboys fans came out. Oh, it's our year. Yeah, okay. All right, next game. Eagles Giants battle of NFC East teams. Who do you have?
I got the Eagles, man. The Giants they're on like their 5th running back or whatever. Tracy's not too bad, but I got the Eagles.
You know, Carlos for the past 2 weeks have been wanting and liking the Giants. 2 weeks ago, he didn't pick the Giants, but he told me that he should have. Then last week, he did pick the Giants against the Bengals. That ended up backfiring on him. This week, he learned his lesson. He's picking the Eagles this week, and so am I. I don't like the Giants at all. As suspect as the Eagles are this year, I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. Raiders, Rams. Interesting matchup, kind of also a crappy matchup. Who do you got?
Is this like a dumpster fire 2.5? I don't know if this is like a full dumpster fire
3.0.
3.0. Yeah. Raiders just lost Devontae Adams, so I'm not sure. And their quarterback is very suspect. Rams, again, injury bug. Who's playing wide receiver? Who's your running back? I have no idea. No. Kyron Williams is fantastic. I like the Rams.
Yeah, we all like the Rams in this matchup. Panthers, Commanders. Who do you have?
Commanders, not even close.
Yep, same here. All the way across the board, Commanders. If you pick the Panthers, you're just an Andy Dalton fan at this point. Chiefs, 49ers. Who do you have? This is a good matchup. Did the Chiefs take their first loss?
This is a house divided decision for sure. Because again, I had my wife picked against me on this one. She likes the 49ers, but I got the Chiefs. I think they're still good enough to squeak it out, all said and done.
You're on an island because me and Carlos have the 49ers. We believe that victory can be held by another team if you're going up against.
They haven't beat the Chiefs ever in like the past 5 years.
There's a first time for everything, Scooter. So me and Carlos are going to roll with the 49ers. We are hopeful, optimistics over here. Jets, Steelers. Jets just get Devontae Adams. Steelers are looking good. Who do you got?
Steelers. Something just says Steelers in Heinz Field. Mike Tomlin. The Jets are very still inconsistent. Can Devontae get on the map? Can get in sync in a week? Or less than that?
To answer that question, I think that he can just because of his history with Aaron Rodgers. But to go with you, I'm going to roll with the Steelers this week as well. That defense is rough. And the offense for the Jets is just I think it's going to take a couple weeks for them to finally click on all cylinders. So give me the Steelers this week. Carlos is going with the Jets, so he likes the Devontae Adams add to the Jets. Monday night, what?
So he chooses the Jets, but not the Dolphins. Okay, whatever.
Dude, Hurricane Milton did a lot of things to us Floridians this past week, so let's just maybe he's just I don't know. We'll check on Carlos. Monday night game. There's a doubleheader. I hate these doubleheaders, but Monday night game. Ravens Bucks. Who do you got? It's in Tampa.
Both are looking real good, man. My biggest thing for the Bucks: stop the run. You got to stop the run. And they got to have shutdown defense with the zone because if you go man to man with the Ravens. You got Lamar just sprinting down the field at that point. I got the Bucks. I think we got it going with our two backup running backs. Historical running game for us the past week. I got the Bucks, dude, at home.
Give me Tampa as well. I love what Tuck and Buck was able to do last week, man. That dynamic duo. Love Rashad White. He's a great threat out of the backfield as far as the passing game. But dude, the production with Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker last week was unreal. And I think that they can keep it up this week going up against the Ravens. Should be a very good game. Should be a close game. But give me the home team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this one, Carlos is going to go with the Ravens, but he's just a hater. We already know that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, what's to be expected? Last game, Chargers Cardinals, the other Monday night game. Who do you have?
I don't. Marvin Harrison Jr. went out with an injury this past week. I don't know how they sustain that vertical offense with Kyler Murray, and they're playing at home too. I like the Chargers for some weird reason. Something's saying charge on.
Yeah, all three of us are picking the Chargers this week. You know, I went against the Chargers last week against the Broncos because I loved what Bo Nix and the Broncos were doing. That ended up backfiring on me. I'm not going to do it again this week. As much as I, do like the glimpses of spark that we've seen with Kyle Murray, we are getting closer to the Call of Duty release. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chargers, and so does Carlos. So, but in that note, let us know who you guys have down there in the comment section, because we want to hear from you. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that is the best way to support us this NFL offseason. We are here every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you all the previews for this upcoming week in the NFL. I think there might be some fantasy things coming along. Stay tuned for that. So, but until next Friday,
Beardzone out.